This program is sponsored in part by the National Catholic Society of Foresters. Hello again and welcome to Looking at Social Justice. I'm Jim Grant, and it's my privilege each program to either meet a friend or a new friend. Someone who is doing something obviously in social justice. That's the common denominator. The topics need to be something about a justice issue here in the Valley. Well, the Census 2020 is right now one of the major social justice issues, along with immigration and everything going on here in the Valley and at the border. I have a guest today who is going to be picking up where our friend Samuel Molina introduced us to the census a while back. Kaya Herron is, like Sam, a chair of our Fresno Complete Count Committee, helping our county make sure that we don't miss anyone at all in our count. It's an important challenge, but she does that with tremendous leadership skills. I've been there at the meetings every 2 weeks, and Kaya often leads the session, keeps us on track, and teaches us what we need to do and urges us to just step up and do it. She is also, though, in her full-time job, the Government Affairs Liaison for the Fresno Metro Black Chamber of Commerce. So why don't we begin, Kaya, with that Black Chamber of Commerce. Tell us a little bit about what that work is for you and for the county, and also why it's such a great place for you to be getting the energy from that group into our complete count.
Wonderful. Well, first off, I just want to say thank you, Jim, for allowing me to be here and highlighting the issue of the census and taking the time to highlight it as a social justice issue and doing the work to make sure that the people are educated about it. So thank you for having me here to talk about.
Welcome.
Thank you. Really quickly, so my name again is Kaya Herron. I'm the Government Affairs Liaison for the Fresno Metro Black Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber itself works to advance the business interests of the African American community, and really we do that through technical assistance, providing one-on-one consultations with small businesses or individuals thinking that they want to start a business, and we help them step by step figure out what it is that they need and then connect them to those resources. So in my job, I do some of that technical assistance myself, but I also connect our businesses to the representatives at the local level, the county level, and the state level, as well as with state agencies that provide certifications and other opportunities for small businesses. So the Chamber provides a lot of programs and services, but really our main goal is to help individuals so that they can turn around, help their business, and ultimately help their community. Because a strong community has a vibrant business community and economy, and so making sure we have both is necessary for Fresno County.
Well, I am so glad that you are doing that in your full-time commitment, and if we can have a program in the future on the Chamber, that would be awesome too.
Well, thank you.
But today we prioritize that you, as the chair of our Complete Count Committee for the county, that we would let you share the urgency of what's going on with this challenge, this project, this big event, this Census 2020. Where would you want to start? Why don't you tell us a little bit about why we need a complete count and not leaving hundreds and thousands of people off for any reason?
Definitely. So, as most people know, the census is conducted every 10 years, and the ultimate purpose of the census is to determine how many people, just individuals living in the United States as a whole, are here, so that resources can be allocated based on the individual basis. So that means that every person that's counted also equals power and money. And making sure that every person is counted, no matter what their status, whether or not it's immigration or their age or their ability or disability, that every person is valid and counted is so important. Each person currently is estimated to be around $2,300. So if you're not counted, that's how much money is missing from your community because you weren't counted. Fresno County, when you look at the state of California, we have certain counties that have very high, hard-to-count populations. Fresno County has around 500,000 people that have been identified as hard to count. And that information can be sorted on any level. It can be sorted down to the city level, the census tract block level, and demographic data, including race, age, and a whole other host of factors. So to say that, it's very important that we count every person and that we count the people we know are going to be hard to count.
How is it that we decide hard to count? What is the breakdown of those communities that we really are figuring they're hard to count?
Yes. So the state of California has designated 14 different groups, 14, it's quite a few, that are designated as hard to count communities. So when you think of any ethnic minority, you can think of Asian American or Pacific Islanders. When you think of Native Americans, Hispanics, Latinos, African Americans, our Hmong community, there's a whole bunch of us based on just ethnicity alone that are classified as hard to count. But then when you break that down even further, children 0 to 5, people that we wouldn't automatically think get counted. And then when you think of folks that need assistance in living, they may not be counted. When you think of people living in close quarters, there's a whole bunch of things that can make you hard to count. And one of the most important ones, at least when you look at the Central Valley, is home ownership and unemployment, or rather how they correlate to poverty. Poverty is one of the #1 indicators as to whether or not you will be hard to count. So if your family does not make much and you're also a renter, it almost triples your likelihood of not being an easy to count person. I hope I explained that properly.
Oh no, definitely, and there would be obviously in the Central Valley and in Fresno County, we would be, not only are there 500,000 hard to count designated as such, but regarding the state, that's a large group of people.
It's huge. So LA County is the hardest county in the entire United States to count. And Fresno County, in terms of demographics, is not that far behind. So Fresno County has a multitude of challenges. Because we're so diverse, we have so many different needs, but our diversity is our strength, but in counting our people, it can be a challenge. And so one of the things that we know about Fresno County is that we have urban areas as well as rural areas. And living in a rural area also makes you very difficult to count because you may or may not have consistent access to the internet or a consistent mail delivery service or resource centers that are nearby that would provide information to you about the census. So there's a lot of challenges in Fresno County, but because there's so many wonderful people here who are committed to the work, there's a lot of opportunities for those to turn into success.
What would you say about what it is that the census is really needing to get involved with, or how do we, who are listening or hearing, able to do more than just say, wow, you've got some real difficult challenges here. How do we get involved? In what ways can we possibly become part of the solution?
Definitely. Well, the easiest way is to become a part of our Fresno County Complete Count Committee. Currently, we're meeting twice a month, every 2 weeks, but we have a host of subcommittees that are targeting different populations that have been identified as hard to count. So the subcommittee that you're a part of is our faith-based committee, where we're galvanizing our faith-based community to get together and identify solutions and identify the resources available to take part in that work. We have a language subcommittee that's working to make sure that all the information is available in any language that's spoken in our county. Currently, the state is supporting a host of languages. We want to make sure that everyone has access to information about the census in their language. We also have our government subcommittee, where we're connecting all of our local and state governments, as well as our trustee boards and commissions, to get them to work together as well to continue to advocate for either more funding or more resources, but truly just collaboration. So if you can think about a subcommittee, there is one that's doing it. One of our subcommittees that almost everyone is familiar with would be our media subcommittee. They're responsible for putting together our Facebook page, the Fresno County Complete Count, on facebook.com. And they also put out advertisements for us on Twitter to make sure that the community continues to be updated on what's going on with the Complete Count Committee. So again, there's a subcommittee for everyone, and there's an opportunity for you to come and to share your experience, to share your knowledge, and share yourself as a resource to make sure that we're all counted.
I'm going to read you something from our latest issue of the Central California Catholic Life.
Yes.
And it's our diocesan newspaper. And on page 7, which is kind of like the center fold, which is kind of nice because it opens up and there it is, complete with the ad, complete with the flyer. Be counted in the 2020 census. What is the census? The census is an important opportunity for all U.S. residents to be counted in their communities.
Right.
The U.S. Constitution mandates that a census of the population be conducted once every 10 years. Every household is encouraged to complete a census form, either online, mail, or phone, by April 1st, 2020.
Yes.
Your participation and responses are protected under Title 13 of the U.S. Constitution. We need you and your community counted. With your help, we can ensure an accurate and complete count for all. This is the product of our wonderful little subcommittee.
Yes, it is.
And you were awesome involved in this.
Oh, thank you.
Now, I want to read something right next to it, which Kaya had nothing to do with, because it's from the bishop. And it was his initiative to decide to sign a letter, write a letter, right next to this. So I want you, please, when you go home, you people that are listening on the podcast, check it out. Get the newspaper, Central California Catholic Life, and read what Bishop said, where he says this: Dear friends of Christ, dear friends in Christ, June 21st, 2019. The 2020 U.S. Census is fast approaching, and as the new bishop of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Fresno, I invite you and encourage all the clergy and their parishes to participate in the nation's 2020 decennial census endeavor to the level that each one can reasonably share the related tasks. Christian wisdom has us live with tension between making the best of now and faith in the life to come. We need to render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's and to God that are God's by our participation in this national enumeration of our population. We rejoice in the work entrusted to us and continue to relate to and serve everyone in this beautiful Diocese of Fresno. The Church's relationship with our parishioners and the community at large can be enhanced by recognizing that the government's programs and services provided during the next 10 years are directly impacted by the census effort.
That's right.
We are instruments in the hands of God, who is ever present to his faithful in time of need. I look forward to the innovative ways our various parishes, church groups, and organizations might help with the census so that our communities and people can recognize and receive the programs and services so vitally needed. In Christ, Most Reverend Joseph V. Brennan, D.D., Bishop, Diocese of Fresno. So that's what went out in our July newspaper. What are some things that you would wish in the next letter? What would be some details that you further want to challenge the diocese to put in the letter, a little detail? What are some things we could be doing, Kaya, more than just make a pitch, do something? What do you want us to do?
That is a great question. I think one of the things I would really like to see the diocese do, but really everyone who has a resource in the community, to identify where you are on the map of hard to count, right? So the state of California has an interactive map where you can look at your census tract or your neighborhood and identify how many individuals are hard to count and what measures exist in your neighborhood. And in finding out that information, you now have power to do something. If you know that there are 3,000 people that are in the same census tract as your church, then you know that there are people there that need to hear that message. So it's very important to still send the pitch, but know who you're pitching to, identify them, and try and find an opportunity to collaborate and connect, host an event, just get out into the community. That's really what I'd like to see. We are currently in the education phase. So what that means is at this point, this is the end of July. The census is going to be, official census day is April 1st. You're going to start getting invitations to respond the second week of March. So right now it's really about getting as many people educated about what the census is, period, and then what it is what they are responsible for in completing it. So what kind of questions will be asked? How do you answer these certain kinds of questions? Educating yourselves so that you can in turn educate your community. I think that's something I'd really like to see.
So you did say have events.
Yes.
So what would be a typical possible event in a parish? And I'm thinking, whom would we have to do that event? Like, I don't know that we would be necessarily knowing how to pull off the event, but we would be great at hosting an event.
Definitely.
What's an event? Who can do it?
So I think an event would be a gathering of people for any reason. So it does not have to be something that is solely for the census. You could be having a church potluck, and while everyone is here together sharing a meal and rejoicing with one another, we can also put in just a little bit of education and say, hey, the census is coming up pretty soon. Do you know what it is? Let me tell you. And here's what you need to do. And somebody who could come in and do that presentation could be from the Fresno County Complete Count. They could be from the state Complete Count office, or even from the U.S. Census Bureau. We have a partnership specialist here in Fresno County that would be more than happy to do those kinds of presentations. So anyone that needs to be connected to that resource can be connected. But you don't have to create an event that's solely for the census, but find ways to incorporate it into what you're doing already.
You know, interesting when you said there's a local U.S. Census person.
Yes.
I think we at the diocese hosted the interviews.
Yes.
Which was kind of awesome. Being invited to be, could we host? And then they staggered appointments during the day. So one of those lucky persons, of which I did know one of the candidates, don't know how he did, hope it worked out. They're the ones that would be already locally based. Mm-hmm. They could be the speaker. They could be the one who knows more than the average me. Awesome.
Definitely. And that's another opportunity to get involved. The Census Bureau is still hiring. They are hiring all the way through the end of this year for enumerators, people who actually be knocking on doors, field staff, IT persons, everyone that you could think of that's necessary in a functioning office environment, the Census Bureau is currently hiring for. So if you go to their website and you go to jobs, please apply for something. One of the things that's most important in educating your community about the census, they found this in doing their research at the national level and doing their test, that someone from your community sharing information with you about the census will be more impactful and you'll be more likely to trust them because they're a trusted messenger. You know, if you were hired in Fresno County to do work in LA County, they might not trust you as much. But you hire locally and you're working locally, there's already a relationship there that you can rely on, and there's a trust that's going to be necessary in sharing this information with our community and the most vulnerable people in our community as well.
The next question I think that you did want me to make sure we got to talk about is maybe an event that might be the next one that's being scheduled already.
Yes.
So we'll be able to talk about it. Then we'll be able to further promote it in another setting beyond our program. So what's an upcoming event?
Definitely. So the Complete Count office at the state of California, is putting together an implementation planning workshop meeting, and that will be here in Fresno on Tuesday, August the 6th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Nielsen Conference Center, which is 3110 West Nielsen Avenue, 93706. And this meeting will bring together all the regional contractors that are contracted to do the work throughout Region 6 and community leaders throughout Fresno County, Kings County, and Tulare County to kind of coordinate and work together on how they're going to reach our hard to count as well as our hardest to count populations to ensure that we have a complete count.
What we'll need to do is say that again one more time, only because it'll be good that someone may have heard it, they'll hear it again, and then what we'll do out of our office, we'll make sure we promote it, because it is giving us a little bit of time. August 6th, yes. God willing, this will be a program that will be airing before that, and then we'll also be able to promote it in another setting beyond our program. But one more time,
Yes.
this next event, August 6th, tell us about it.
So it's an implementation planning workshop. The State of California Complete Count Office, which is responsible for planning for the census, is bringing together the regional contractors as well as community leaders and organizers in Fresno County, Kings County, and Tulare County, which are part of our region for the work that's going to be done in the census. And so that's going to be on Tuesday, August 6th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Nielsen Conference Center, which is at 3110 West Nielsen Avenue, Fresno, California, 93706.
We will find a way to plug that. That would be the very next event.
Very next.
Anything after that is scheduled?
There are a couple events, and forgive me, I did not pull the right calendar, but we have a calendar that's going to be up on our Facebook page, so you'll be able to go there and find out all of the events. And so we're Fresno County Complete Count Committee on Facebook, and all the events that are going to be happening through the Complete Count Committee, as well as our community partners, will be posted there. So Univision has done a census symposium. They're also going to be doing another fair. I know that Central La Familia Advocacy Center, they're doing some work around the census, and they have a couple events that are coming up. I want to say at the end of August, there's the Big Fresno Fair where we'll be tabling, and a whole host of other back to school events where there'll be information.
So introduce us, because I think most of our communication is being done on the Facebook page.
Yes.
So it's called the Fresno County
There we
Complete Count Committee Facebook page.
Yes.
And what are the many different things people may find out there, Kaya? What are some of the things besides an event that they'll also learn? What great treasures are buried at that Facebook page?
There's some great treasures there. A lot of them are quick facts about the census. So what it is that you need to know in terms of the census history, its purpose, and how you're going to be engaged through the census. And we share that information currently in English, Spanish, Hmong, and Punjabi. And so we have a person who translates for all of those languages to make sure that it's accessible to everyone in our community. So that's what you'll find in general. Will be mostly quick facts and questions and answers about the census itself, and then contact information for the co-chairs and the organizations that are doing the work, and then events. And I think that's pretty much it that's there right now. But one of the things that we have really asked our community members and those who engage with us on Facebook to do is to send a message to the page and to the group. If you have a question that's not currently being answered, or you need to be connected to a resource, please reach out to us. The whole purpose for the committee is to be connected to the community and make sure that you're counted. So if you have a question or you need to be in contact with someone, please connect with us.
One thing I could say about our faith-based community, faith-based community committee, we have not only Catholics involved because we meet at the diocese, but there is a member from the Punjabi community. We have people from Islam. We have people from non-Catholic Christian faiths and other faiths. We are going to be meeting on the day before the August 6th meeting, August 5th, at 10 o'clock at the Diocese of Fresno. So we'll be able to post that on the Facebook page to let people know that that's another thing. Who we'd want at that meeting is anybody watching or listening to this program who has any way that they would find themselves faith-based. So if they are in any form of congregational faith, Judaism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Hinduism, wherever you are in a group that is faith-based, we would want your contribution, because another way that the faith-based community can help is to add the moral dimension to what is a political issue. The idea of the citizenship question is not only a political football that has been badly bandied about, but it is a moral question and just shows how so much immorality is able to go on in politics, how much bad faith. So what I'd like to do is challenge the faith-based listeners and viewers of our program to be in touch with me. That would be Jim Grant at the Diocese of Fresno, 559-488-7463. That would be my work number. I'd be glad to hear from you with any follow-up to what Kaya is proposing. Of course, the better place to go is the Facebook page of the Fresno County Complete Count Committee Facebook page. We've got about 2 minutes, Kaya. Is there anything we didn't even get to mention or something you wanted to make sure we wrap up with?
Definitely. A handful of things, and I'll try to go as quickly as possible. When we're looking at our community and we see who is the most likely to be undercounted, and we look at historical trends, African Americans are very high on the list as being most likely to be undercounted. Historically, we have had issues because of our relation with the criminal justice system, with the way households have been structured, and the enumeration that has been done by census takers. Over the lifetime of the census, the definition of African American has gone through so many different terms. And so understanding how to identify yourself is going to be one of the biggest challenges for our population in particular. There is an addition that was not on the census before. In terms of race, now when you choose the box for white or black, there is a write-in option for you to write in your ethnicity. So if you are African American but you're originally from Haiti, you can say that you are Haitian American, and that will give us more accurate data on where you're coming from and who you really are. And that will also hopefully increase funding for language access services or culturally based services for people on both sides of answering that question. 2 other really quick and important points about the census itself. This is the first time the census will ever be offered online. So for people who have limited access to broadband internet or cannot easily get to a computer or just don't have computer skills, that can be a challenge. So the county is currently working on finding ways to increase access, either doing questionnaire assistance centers where there'll be somewhere there to help you along with the process, or a kiosk where you can just have access to a computer. So they're still figuring that out, but know that the resource will be available. And even though the census has moved online, you still have the ability and the option to complete it over the telephone or request a paper form so that you can complete it that way. Accessibility is one of the most important things about the census, making it accessible so that we're all counted. So make sure that your needs are met. And lastly, how you'll be invited to complete the census. About 95% of households will receive an invitation postcard in the mail. About 5% will have their census form actually dropped off by a census taker, and only 1% will be counted by an enumerator. And so those are places like remote Alaska, where the count will start in January, or parts of northern Maine, where it's very difficult to get to or they don't have consistent mail service, as well as our tribal lands and reservations. So when you get your postcard in the mail, we'll have a link that takes you to the census website and a telephone number where you can call to complete the census. So that'll happen on March 12th through the 20th, when you should be getting that information. And then you'll get another reminder probably somewhere around the 24th. And if you haven't responded yet, after Census Day, there will be follow-ups. So they will be either calling you on the telephone or sending someone to your door to take your census information. For our communities where you have an immigration status that may not be I'm trying to find the right word, so let me just say this, where your immigration status is unsure, one of the things that we are recommending as a community to ensure that we get the resources that are deserved for your living here and being here, but also preserving your safety, complete as many questions as possible, because a census form that is completed to the best of your abilities will least likely be followed up on, and you will not have someone come to your door. So in terms of safety, complete as much as you can. And if you need help, ask help from someone that you trust.
Thank you very much, Kaya. We will do another program in the future, but for today, that's all we can fit in. Take care and God bless.
Thank you.